Our program tonight is twofold. Shakespeare's Women as advertised. We all know Shakespeare's Men, don't we? Come on. Okay, good. Oh, we know Richard III, Hamlet, Julius Caesar, Lear, we know all the heavyweights, okay? But tonight we're going to get a peek at what some of the women have done. Of course, you need to remember that there were no women in Shakespeare's theater. All those female roles were played by young boys. Not that there weren't any women in Shakespeare's theater, okay? But not on stage, okay? Fortunately, we have an illustrious cast of women over here who are going to share with you the wonders of Shakespeare's women. Save one. We're going to open with Richard III, okay? I don't know why he wanted to do it with the women, but, who was I to say no? Okay? It's Shakespeare. And our second part of the program is a tribute to the late Barbara Rush, who passed away on March 31st this year at age 97. She had a wonderful long life, and you can applaud, it's okay. Barbara was a Hollywood A-lister, for sure. She worked with the likes of Dean Martin, Marlon Brando, Richard Burton, Kirk Douglas. She worked with so many, many, many male stars, and she made them better. And they have testified to that, okay? However, some of you soap opera fans may remember, help me out here, what soaps did she do? Peyton Place. Highly remembered for Peyton Place. And maybe you remember All My Children. Yep, All My Children. She was a Golden Globe winner as a promising ingenue in 1954. Okay, that tests to her lifelong career in the theater. Okay, so as we pay tribute to Barbara, remember her as you will. Okay, as we will. I'm going to help you out. I have a little PowerPoint. My friend John Edmiston has a couple stories to share with you, so please indulge us. I usually put on the last slide, thanks for watching, but I put on the next to last slide, because the last piece of my PowerPoint is her wonderful, wonderful speech from Sunset Boulevard. I'm ready for my close-up. Mr. DeMille. Miss Barbara Rush, a woman of independent means. And if you look in the lower right-hand corner, she performed this and won a Drama Critics Circle Award for presenting this. And she also did it for us on the main stage. That makes her smile even brighter. She starred with John Parrott in one of our radio shows, The African Queen. We did several radio shows with Barbara.
Good evening. I was really pleased to be able to be included in this tribute tonight for Barbara, because she was a class act, and I do have some stories to tell. But before I do, I think I should give you some background information. For all of you out there who don't know me, my name is John Edmiston, excuse me, and I've been in the old pros for a while, but in 2012, I had only been in the old pros for, I don't know, less than a year, and I've done a couple of things. When I was approached by Sheila Bianca, who I only knew of at the time, I didn't really know her yet, and she told me that I was going to be in a 3-person play she was directing, starring two professionals, an actor named Willie Carpenter and an actress named Barbara Rush. The play was Driving Miss Daisy, and I was going to play the part of Barbara's son, Booley Worthing. Bam, just like that, no discussion. So, after I recovered, I started thinking, God, I hope Barbara Rush is everything I hoped she was going to be. And what I hoped she was going to be was this very even-tempered, patient, tolerant, helpful, and forgiving kind of person. But most of all, helpful, because I felt definitely out of my league here, and I probably needed a little help. But she really was much more than that. Barbara Rush was eminently approachable, no affectation. She was gracious and kind and very, very helpful. And that's the first story of 3 that I have to tell you. Excuse me. During the first weeks of Driving Miss Daisy's rehearsals, my back went out. Something that's been happening to me since my late 30s. I wake up with it, it just takes a week and a half to wear off, and then it's gone. But the initial 2 days are excruciating. So I was walking into the theater very gingerly, and I saw a solitary Barbara just standing there. Willie wasn't there, and Sheila had called in, she was going to be sick. Barbara looks up and she sees me and she says, "Oh my goodness, John, what's the matter?" And I said, nothing, Barbara, it's just my back. It's just something that happens to me, that's all. And she says, "Well, have you stretched?" And I said, "No." And she says, "Well, that's what the matter is, isn't it? Here, I want you to get down on the floor with me. I think I can help you." So she was 88 at the time, and she slipped out of her chair and glided down the floor like a 10-year-old. Took me about a minute to get down there, and I was just racked with pain all the way. And while we were on the floor, she explains to me the benefits of stretching and the importance of staying limber in your old age. She gave me book titles and authors' names and just a ton of useful, helpful information. So, to make a long story short, I have practiced all of those things that she told me about, and I don't have a back problem anymore. If you were to ask me, did Barbara Rush actually help you? I would say, I think helpful is just etched into her DNA, and that I just got very, very lucky the day I met Barbara Rush. Now, my second little story is about her somewhat whimsical sense of humor. One day I had to go into Stater Brothers to buy some bananas, and I go in the store, and there she is in the produce section. And her back is to me, and so I go up behind her, and I kind of in her ear, I give her that, "Can I help you, madam?" And she turns around, and she says, "Oh my goodness, it's my son. How good to see you." Now, I have to tell you that during Driving Miss Daisy, and even after that, she always referred to me jokingly as her son. So I'm sitting there, and we're talking together, and there are 2 ladies behind us, and they come walking up, and when they get to our side, they stop, and one of them says, "Oh my goodness. Well, aren't you, well, you know, you're, and she recognized the face, but she couldn't pull up the name. And Barbara says, no, that's not me. No, I know it looks like me, but it's not. No. But you know who you should be talking to. You should be talking to this man. And she points at me, puts it right here, finger on the chest. And she just walks away. So they're standing there looking at me very quizzically, and I'm looking back at them, and I know that they can stare at me from now until the ending of recorded history, and they are never, ever going to pull up mine. So I politely excuse myself, and I go try to find Barbara in the back of the store because she had disappeared behind the grocery aisle. And I find her and I say, hey, Barbara, I just want to thank you so much for that, with as much sarcasm as I could drink. And she looks at me and big smile on her face and kind of slaps me on the shoulder and says, anything for my son. So that's two stories. I have one more to tell you. It's an acting story, and I'll tell it to you after David ends what he's going to tell you. Thank you.
The Old Pros is famous for doing many, many things on the main stage. And one of the things we did was "'Tis the Season." And on the left, you can see Golden Globe winner Brett Halsey. And on the right, the illustrious Barbara. And we just had so much fun working with her because, as John has already said, she was so easy to work with. I had the pleasure of directing her in The Gift of the Magi. I wanted her to do it because she has a wonderful mellifluous voice, okay, and a wonderful delivery. So I asked her if she would do Gift of the Magi because it's one of my favorite stories, and coincidentally one of her favorite stories. And maybe I see some of you shaking your heads that it's your favorite, one of your favorite stories as well. So she said, okay, David, go ahead. And I said, go ahead, what? And she said, well, tell me what you want me to do. Tell me how you want me to do this. Tell me how you want me to read this. And I'm supposed to direct Barbara Rush. And I said, let's work on this together. And we did, and her delivery was just wonderful. And I was very grateful to have the opportunity to work with her one-on-one. Here are some of the things she did for the Old Pros. This happens to be a radio show called Inner Sanctum, working there with Tony Garcia. And of course, one of her favorites was Sunset Boulevard. So I'm going to send you back to Mr. Edmiston for his final story regarding his work with Barbara on Sunset Boulevard, and then I would like to show you the clip that I took of her.
Okay, thank you, David. So, some months after driving Miss Daisy, I was cast opposite Barbara in the Old Pros version of the Lux Radio Theater production of Sunset Boulevard. Barbara was Gloria Swanson, and I was, what's his name? William Holt, yeah. Joe Gillis and Norma Desmond. And Carol Glenn was in it. She was my girlfriend, little script girl. The show was directed by John Perrick, and there came a time in the rehearsal when John was trying to pull something out of me as an actor that I apparently wasn't giving him enough of. And he was getting frustrated, and I was getting frustrated. And so he called for a break in the rehearsal. And during the break, Barbara comes over to me and she says, "You know, John, I had a very similar situation. My director came over to me and said, 'Barbara, now when we get to this part in the script, I want you to be, I need you to be,' and she said he was hemming and hawing, and she said, so I started throwing out some adjectives to him. I said, what do you want me to be? What? You want me to be more loving and forgiving, or more hesitant and reluctant? Huh? Or what? What do you want me to be?" And he said, no, Barbara, I need you to be better. Yeah. I had to laugh too. I thought that was one of the funniest acting stories that I had ever heard, and I think she thought so too. But, that's really what John was trying to tell me. No matter how hard you're working, no matter how hard you're trying, or how good you think you are, or anything like that, you should always be giving it your very best, but you should never, ever stop striving to be better. And that's what Barbara Rush gave to me. From the time she had me down on the floor in Clubhouse 3 to the very last time I turned a page of script with her, Barbara Rush just made me better. Willie Carpenter once told me, and I never asked him this, he just volunteered it. He said, "John, I never made a dime on driving Miss Daisy. All I ever wanted was to share the stage with Barbara Rush so I could legitimately put her name on my resume." So if you're listening, Barbara, and you can hear me, please know that your name will always appear at the very top of my somewhat limited and sparse resume. Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for listening. Thank you.
All right, I did it. Couldn't help myself.
All right, Mr. DeVille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Richard III. Before the play even begins, Richard has already killed Lady Anne's husband and Henry VI, her father-in-law, and now he woos Lady Anne. In Shakespeare's Richard III, Anne is on her way to the graveside to bury her husband when Richard, Duke of Gloucester, bids the bearers of the corpse to put down the casket so he can confront Anne. Richard, one of the greatest villains in English history, according to Shakespeare, is villainous even as a lover. However, over the course of the scene, Richard is able to successfully manipulate Anne into marrying him by complimenting her beauty, professing his love for her, lying about his role in her husband's death, and messing with her emotions by offering to let Anne kill him by offering her his sword. Fast forward 500 years. History has been much kinder to Richard than Shakespeare. After a diligent search, Richard's remains were found in a parking lot. They now repose in the Church of the Franciscan Friars in Leicester, England.
Was ever a woman in such humor wooed? Was ever a woman in such humor won? What? That I, who killed her husband and father, would take her in her heart's extremest hate, with curses in her mouth and tears in her eyes, the bleeding witness of my hatred by. And hath she forgot already, and fair prince, Edward her lord, whom I some 3 months hence did stab in my angry mood at Tewkesbury? And will she yet abase her eyes on me? Will she abase her eyes yet on me, that cropped the golden prime of this sweet prince, and made her widow to a woeful bed? I do think I mistake my person. Upon my life, she finds, although I cannot, me to be a right proper man. A right proper marvelous man. I'll go to charges for a looking glass. And I'll entertain a score or two of tailors to come and study fashion and adorn my body. But first, I'll turn yon fellow over in his grave, and then I shall return lamenting to my love. Oh, shine out, fair sun, till I have bought a glass, so I may see my shadow as I pass.
Troilus and Cressida. Troilus and Cressida is set during the Trojan War and has one of Shakespeare's best descriptions of a declaration of love. Pandarus brings together Troilus and the seemingly reluctant Cressida, who finally acknowledges her love for Troilus. At the prospect of meeting her in the garden, Troilus proclaims, "I am giddy. Expectation whirls me round."
She fetches her breath as short as a new tame sparrow.
My heart beats thicker than a fever's pulse. You have bereft me of all words, my lady.
Prince Troilus, I have loved you night and day for many weary months.
Why was my Cressida so hard to win?
Hard to seem one, but I was won, my lord, with the first glance that ever... Pardon me. If I confess much, you will play the tyrant. I love you now, but not till now so much, but I might master it. In faith, I lie again. My thoughts were like those of unbridled children, grown too headstrong for their mother. Oh, see, we fools? Why have I blabbed? Who shall be true to us when we are so unsecret to ourselves? But though I loved you well, I wooed you not. And yet, dear friend, I wished myself a man, or that we women had men's privilege of speaking first. Oh, sweet, bid me hold my tongue, for in this rapture I shall surely speak the thing I shall repent. See, silence, cunning in dumbness. From my weakness drains my very soul of counsel. Stop my mouth!
Prospero's throne has been usurped by his brother Antonio, and he wants it back. The former Duke of Milan has stranded on a barren island for 12 years with his daughter, Miranda. Prospero conjures a tempest as part of a twofold plan: to gain his dukedom and find another suitor for Miranda. She is worried that there has been great loss of life as the vessel went down. He explains to her that he has used his magic to raise the storm and that he has assured her that no one on the ship was harmed. Fortunately, he has his magic to help him achieve his aims.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea mounting in the welkin's cheek dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel, who no doubt had some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, ere it should the good ship so have swallowed, and the frothing souls within her.
Julius Caesar. Brutus is troubled. He has spent a restless, sleepless night before the planned assassination of Julius Caesar. His mind is fixated on the upcoming day, the Ides of March. He is having second thoughts, but the conspiracy is already well planned and the murder of Caesar is imminent. As the day breaks, the conspirators come to Brutus's lodging to make their final plans. After they exit, Portia enters and finds her husband badly out of sorts and asks,
My dear Brutus, make me acquainted with your cause of grief.
I am not well, that is all.
Is Brutus sick? And is it physical to walk unbraced and suck up the humours of the dank morning? What? Is Brutus sick that he would steal out of his wholesome bed to dare the vile contagion of the night and tempt the roomy and unpurged air? To add unto a sickness? No, my Brutus, you have some sick offence within your mind, which by the right and virtue of my place I need to know. My dear Brutus, I charm you by my once commended beauty, which did incorporate and make us one. That you unfold to me yourself, your hat. Why are you heavy? And what men tonight have resort to you? For here have been some 6 or 7 who did hide their faces even in darkness.
Gentle Portia.
Oh, I should not need if you were gentle, Brutus.
Al Glover sings To the Wind.
I once loved a girl with deep red hair and eyes that flashed with a glow of the love that we shared in the summertime, which never did last roam. But I had to roam, I had to see this world. I had to climb every hill I could find. So I left her waiting at the cottage door. Though I sang as I left her behind. I'll sing my song of love to the wind, which carries the melody over the sea, to my love who awaits on a distant shore. Oh, I return to her arms once more. And now that I have been halfway around this world, with yet one more half still exceed, I find as I lie by myself in the grass, it's home where I'm longing to be. And I find as I walk through the lanes of this world, my own love I'm longing to see. So I'm hurrying home with my heart in my hand. And as I'm running, I sing my song of love to the wind, which carries the melody over the sea, to my love who awaits on a distant shore, for my return to her arms once more, for my return to her arms once more, for my return to her arms once more.
Twelfth night. Pay attention now. Twins, Viola and Sebastian, are separated in a shipwreck. Viola, who is disguised as Cesario, falls in love with the Duke Orsino, who in turn is in love with the Countess Olivia. Upon meeting Viola / Cesario, Olivia falls in love with her, thinking that she is a man. Viola alone realizes that Olivia has fallen in love with Cesario, her, as a man, and not her. Olivia has sent a diamond ring to Cesario as a token of love and appreciation, unaware that Cesario is actually a woman. Olivia's steward, Malvolio, finds the disguised Viola and returns the ring. Viola now realizes that she is in a love triangle that she is helpless to resolve.
She took the ring of me. I'll none of it.
No, come, sir, you peevishly threw it to hell who will. It should be so returned.
I left no ring with her. What means this lady? Fortune forbid. My outside has not charmed her. She made good view of me. Indeed, so much that sure methought her eyes had lost her tongue, for she did speak in starts distractedly. She loves me. Sure, the cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. None of my lord's ring. Why, he left her alone. I am the man. so as 'tis, poor lady, she were better love a dream. Oh, disguise, I see thou art a wickedness wherein the pregnant enemy does march. How easy is it for the proper faults in women's waxen hearts to set their forms? Alas, our frailty is the cause, not we, for such as we are made, of such we be. How will this fadge? My master loves her dearly, and I, poor monster, fond as much on him, and she, mistaken, seems to dote on me. Oh, what will become of this? As I am man, my state is desperate for my master's love. As I am woman now, alas the day, what thriftless sighs shall poor Olivia breathe? Oh, time, thou must untangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie.
Measure for measure. Isabella, who is on her way to a nunnery, pleads with Angelo, who has been left in charge by the Duke for her brother Claudio's life. Angelo refuses to relent, but overcome by desire for Isabella, tells her that he will consider her plea and instructs her to return the following morning. Upon her return, Isabella once again pleads for her brother's life.
Well, what's your suit?
I have a brother condemned to die. Oh, I do beseech you, let it be his fault and not my brother.
Urged on by Lucio, who wants her not to take no for an answer, she continues her suit.
Needs he must die?
Madam, no remedy.
After some great Shakespeare dialogue, Isabella delivers her great men thunder speech. Will Angelo relent? He will, but only if Isabella sleeps with him.
Could great men thunder as Jove himself does? Then Jove ne'er would be quiet, for every pelting petty officer would use his heaven for thunder. Nothing but thunder. Oh, merciful heaven, thou with thy sharp and sulphurous bolt wouldst rather split the unwedged and gnarled oak than the soft myrtle. But man, proud man, so dressed in his little brief authority, most ignorant where he is most assured. His shiny essence, like an angry ape, plays such fantastic tricks upon high heaven that the angels themselves would weep. Oh, if they had the spleen that we do have, then they, as mortals, would laugh.
Hamlet. Claudius and Gertrude are anxious for an answer to explain Hamlet's behavior. The ever-meddling Polonius places Ophelia where he and Claudius may secretly observe a meeting between her and Hamlet. What follows is one of Shakespeare's greatest scenes. At first, Hamlet is courteous to her, but then, in a fit of madness, he turns on her, denying that he ever loved her, asks her where her father is, attacks her womanhood, and delivers his famous line, "Get thee to a nunnery! And if thou dost marry, I give you this dowry. Be chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. To a nunnery, go, 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 and be quick too. Ophelia. She has no way to digest Hamlet's behavior, but explains her feelings in this masterful soliloquy.
Oh, what a noble mind is here overthrown. Courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword. Expectancy and rose of the fair state. Glass of fashion, the mold of form. The observed of all observers, quite down. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that suck the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth, blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, to have seen what I have seen, to see what I see.
Al Glover sings Scarborough Fair.
Feel free to join in. Parsley, sage, rosemary. isn't he the one who lives there? She once was a true love of mine. She once was a true love of mine.
Midsummer Night's Dream. Oberon and Titania, king and queen of the fairies, quarrel over possession of a young Indian boy. Oberon orders Robin Goodfellow, a hobgoblin, or Puck, to obtain a special flower that makes people fall in love with the next creature they see. Oberon wants to make Titania fall in love with a beast and use her infatuation to get the Indian boy from her.
Set your heart at rest. The fairyland buys, not the child of me. His mother was a votress of my order, and full often hath she gossiped by my side, and sat by me on Neptune's yellow sands. When we had laughed to see the sails conceive, and grow big-bellied with the wanton wind, would she, with pretty and with swimming gait, following, her womb then rich with my young squire, would imitate, and set sail upon the land to fetch me trifles and return again as from a voyage, rich with merchandise. But she, being mortal, of that boy did die. And so I do rear up her boy, and so I will not let go of him. You will not have him. Not for all of my fairy kingdom. Fairies away, I shall chide downright. Shall I stay another day?
Taming of the Shrew. 3 couples attend the wedding. Lucentio and Bianca, Petruchio and Catherine, and Hortensio and the widow. Petruchio is repeatedly teased about being married to a shrew. In retaliation, Petruchio wagers with Lucentio and Hortensio that if they all summon their wives to them, his Catherine will be the most obedient in responding. When Bianca and the widow refuse to come at all and Catherine promptly appears, Petruchio wins, and then he sends Catherine to bring the other wives to their husbands. When they return, Petruchio tells Catherine to instruct the other wives in their wifely duty. Catherine delivers a long speech in praise of women's submission to their husbands. Petruchio kisses Catherine, and they go off to bed. Catherine, I charge thee, tell these headstrong women what duty they do owe their lords and husbands.
Fie! Unknit that threatening, furrowed, unkind brow, and dart not scornful looks from those eyes to wound thy lord king, thy governor. It blots thy beauty, as frost do bite the meads. Confounds thy fame, as whirlwinds shake their buds. And in no sense is meet or amiable. A woman moved is like a fountain troubled, muddy, ill-seeming, thick, bereft of beauty. And while it is so, none so dry or thirsty will deign to touch one drop of it. Thy husband is thy Lord, thy life, thy keeper, thy head, thy sovereign, one that cares for thee, and for thy maintenance commits his body to painful labor, both by sea and land, to watch the night in storms, the day in cold, whilst thou liest warm at home, secure and safe, and craves no other tribute at thy hands, but love, fair looks, and true obedience. Too little payment for so, but craves no other. Too little payment for so great a debt. Such duty as the subject owes the king, even such a woman oweth her husband. And when she is froward, peevish, sullen, sour, and not obedient to his honest will, what is she but a foul contending rebel, and graceless traitor to her loving lord? I am ashamed that women are so simple, to awful war where they should kneel for peace, or seek for rule, supremacy, and sway, when they are bound to serve, love, and obey. Why are our bodies soft and weak and smooth, unkept, to toil and trouble in the world, but that our soft conditions and our hearts should well agree with our eternal external parts? Come, come, you froward and tragic women. My mind hath been as big as one of yours, to bandy word for word and frown for frown. But now I see our lances are but straws, our strength as weak, our weakness past compare, that seeming to be most, which we indeed least are. Then veil your stomachs, for it is no boot, and place your hands below your husband's foot, in token of which duty, if you please, my hand is ready. May it do him ease.
Come on and kiss me, baby. Now we have a duet. Al Glover and Kathleen Kernahan singing Green Sleeve.
Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me out discourteously, and I have loved you so long, delighting in your company. Everybody. Green sleeves was all my joy. Green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves was my heart of gold. And who but my lady green sleeves? Thy gown was of the grassy green, leaves of satin hanging by, which made thee be a harvest queen, and yet thou wouldst not love me. Green sleeves was all my joy. Green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves was my heart of gold.
And
Who but my lady green sleeves? Who but my lady green sleeves? Thank you. We've got a song for you.
We ready?
Okay.
and a 1, and a 2, and a 3. Who's the bard who wrote the plays we all go out to see?